Hey, my name is Darson Grantham. I'm a real estate agent and investor here in Des Moines, Iowa. In this video, I'm going to share with you my perspective on financing rental properties. I've done it all. I've used a traditional bank loan. I've used a HELOC. I've used private money. I bought on contract. I've done it all. But these are the three ways that I think are the most simple that if you are starting out, you need to use one of these. If you're listening to this, it's because you want to invest in real estate. We all know the wealthiest people in the world all have real estate in their portfolio. That's a no-brainer. But what they didn't do is they probably didn't make their money in real estate. They made their money somewhere else, and then they decided to buy real estate. So in this video, I'm gonna go through how they probably financed, depending on who they were, how they financed their first rental property. And I'm gonna go through some real life experiences because I've done all of these, and there isn't one way, there isn't a best way. I have people ask all the time, they call me and they say, hey Darson, I wanna use you as an agent and I want you to help me buy my first rental. How should I finance it? And my answer is, it depends. Can you buy it with cash? Maybe that's the best idea for you. Likely it's not. But anyway, we're gonna go through these three reasons, and I'm gonna add a fourth in here, kind of a secret fourth reason, and not reason, a secret fourth way to finance a rental that is a little risky, a little risque, but it'll give you another option. I'm gonna start off with the granddaddy conventional loans, right? And these conventional loans are basically what you bought to buy your primary house, right? If you bought a house before, it's very likely that you went to a broker, you went to a banker, you bought a house through them, you used a conventional loan. You might have used a FHA or a VA, but these are all kind of conventional loan products. And what they have to do is the bankers have to fit them into a profile. You have to fit into their profile so that when that loan closes, they sell it with a bunch of other loans, they sell it to an institution or another bank, right? So these are going to be your probably your lowest interest rate loans in most cases, and they're good loans. Like, depending on what your plan is, they're likely the only ones that are going to get 30-year fixed rates, which in today's market and the idea that we're hearing of raising interest rates in the future, like that might be what you're looking for. There's also a limited number of these types of loans. And if you're planning to buy 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 properties, you need a strategy. Maybe not on your first one, but you need a strategy to think through, how am I going to do this effectively? A good banker, a good loan officer, a good agent can help guide you through that process and at least help you figure out the questions you need to ask to the professionals to help you get that. Now, I'm going to preface this whole video. I'm not a mortgage whiz. I'm not a finance whiz. I'm your layman. I just have a lot of experience doing this, helping others buy properties in creative ways. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts, right? Like, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've went through the process of, okay, would this work in my market? Would this work with my bank? Would this work for me? Before I became an agent, I was an investor. I bought 7 properties off market using creative financing on all of them. So what that means to you, you never know. But conventional loans, they're the granddaddy. They're what most people use, and they should be your first conversation. Can I get a conventional loan? Does that fit my strategy? So that's conventional loan. Again, my name is Darson Grantham. I'm a real estate agent and investor in Des Moines, Iowa. On this channel, we go through things about Des Moines, things about investing, whether it's real estate, whether it's personal finance, whether it's wealth creation, things that you need to be thinking about, mindset that you need to have. So if any of that interests you, please subscribe, tell a friend about the channel, looking to really grow this channel, produce more content, and figure out things that are entertaining to you, but also educating, because in my opinion, I have people calling me every day looking to invest in Des Moines, Iowa. And some people know the good things about Des Moines and investing in Des Moines, and some people have no idea and don't understand it. And some people don't understand investing in general. And I help everyone that falls into that boat here on Des Moines, here on this channel. So if that interests you, please subscribe above or below. Subscribe below too. Either one. Just subscribe. Next on that list is a fix and flip loan. And a fix and flip loan is also with a bank or a credit union, usually not a broker. And it's a loan that it's almost two loans. You have your construction loan that you're going to borrow from the bank to put in a roof, put in siding, put in flooring, whatever. And then once you get the property done, you're going to refinance it into the second product. And the second product is very likely going to be a conventional loan, the one we just talked about. So I'll give you a real life example. I bought a house. It's my first flip rental house. It was going to be a flip turned into a rental. I bought it for $45,000. I bought it on contract from the sellers for $45,000. And then I had a bank refinance me out with a construction loan. And the bank said, I'll give you $45,000. I'll also give you, or will also give you $40,000 for the rehab and construction of the property. It needed new flooring, needed some drywall, new paint, new kitchen, new bathroom, new roof, furnace, AC, plumbing, electric. Basically, the bones were fine, but it all needed new, right? Well, I had a contractor and we line itemed the entire thing out, and the price was $35,000, and the bank said, yep, we'll finance that for you as long as you follow our rules. I said, okay, what are your rules? And they said, we need a lien waiver on the properties, or on each from each vendor that fixed the properties, or that did the repair work, so that they can't say that I as the rehabber didn't pay them, right? Okay, so that is what I did. I sent them a sheet, and then all I had to do is I had to front end fund the first one, which was, I don't know, $7,000 roof. And it's always key when you're rehabbing a property and it needs a new roof, do it first so the rain doesn't flow down and get the rest of your crap wet and ruin it. So anyway, rehab the property, sent the lien waiver, sent the receipt, sent that I paid it. So then the next thing was electrical. So did the electrical, and the bank, it was like $5,000. The bank cut me a check for $5,000 so that I could pay the electrical person. So that was very simple. They did that, and I submitted the big receipts. Every time a new receipt came in, the bank cut me a check so that I could then cut the vendor a check. Turns out, ended up spending $40,000. The bank gave me about $40,000. And so then I had roughly, if you do the math, 45 purchase, 40 of rehab. I had $85,000 into the property. Went to the bank and said, hey, property is done. Can we get it reappraised? Bank said, yep. They send an appraisal company out. Appraisal company says, we believe this is appraised at $105,000. I said, great. Bank said, we will give you 80% of $105,000. So they basically said that difference I need to pay for. So I had to pay them a little bit, so kind of a down payment, and the rest could be financed through a conventional loan. And so we refinanced out. Cost was about $500. And so that is what you call a BRRRR property. So the reason I didn't flip that is because the spread there was 85 to 105. I didn't feel like with realtor fees, this was before I was a realtor, I didn't feel like with realtor fees, it made a lot of sense for me to flip it. So I just kept it, and currently I have tenants in there paying $1,000 a month, and my mortgage is $700. Really good, in my opinion, really good rental property for the next foreseeable future in an area of town that I like and I feel good about, and tenants in there I feel good about. So that is a way to do a fix and flip loan. So that loan product is called the fix and flip loan. There you go. The third way to finance your first rental property, or a rental property, is using the equity that you have in another property or your primary residence. A lot of people will call me and want to put a down payment on an investment property, and they say, I've got $200,000 of equity in my house. I'd like to use that to put as a down payment on a fourplex. Let's say it's $400,000 fourplex. They want to, put $100,000 down. I say, okay, have you talked to the bank? Yeah, we talked to a bank. We don't know if we should do a HELOC or we should do a cash out refi on our primary residence. And I don't know the answer to that, but in my opinion, a HELOC that you are able to you only have to pay interest on the money that you pull out, versus a cash out refi where you're paying an interest rate on the entire amount that you got back. I think it makes more sense in most cases to do that HELOC, but I'm sure there's instances where a cash out refi might be a better deal. So, tapping into that equity, the thing about a HELOC, it's usually for a set period of time. It's usually 5 to 7 to 10 years. It's usually a little bit higher interest rate, but it sits into account, and you only pay interest on that if the money is pulled from that HELOC account. The thing is, An investment property, when you're using a HELOC, the numbers are not going to be as good. And the reason they are not going to be as good is because you're technically not putting any cash into the deal. You're buying that $400,000 fourplex with $100,000 down payment. You're financing $300,000, but in reality, this HELOC is financed money. There's no cash that you're using that has an interest rate, that has no interest rate. You're not pulling from a savings account. You're pulling from an account that is bearing interest. So you're going to have a 5%, 4, 5, 6% interest on that HELOC, maybe 3. So just know when you're calculating the cash on cash, the ROI of that fourplex, and you're considering this $100,000 into the deal, it's not going to cash flow very much. So just know that your cash on cash is going to be terrible, but you're utilizing that home equity line of credit in order to purchase that. If you had $100,000 in a bank account, that would make the cash on cash look much, much better, which is one of the reasons I do not enjoy cash on cash evaluations. And in this video right here, I explain that and why that is, but I'll leave it up to you as an investor. If you are interested in giving me a call, I'd be happy to kind of walk through that. I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy talking through the scenarios of the good and the bad, pros and cons of using and evaluating cash on cash versus cap rate versus internal rate of return, all of that. It's fun. So give me a call. Happy to help out. With those HELOCs, there are, one thing I didn't talk about is how much equity can you usually pull from your primary residence. And the number there is going to vary depending on the bank and the product that you have. But you're going to be able to pull anywhere from 80 to 90% probably of your primary residence out into a HELOC. And the bonus option is a private money or hard money lender. I would get very cautious if you're buying a rental that you're not trying to force equity on with a private or a hard money loan. Usually the interest rates are very high, very, very hard to buy a property at a price that it makes much sense in using your private money to purchase that property, unless you're planning to do a conventional loan and refinancing out at a later date. So just keep that in mind. Private monies are going to be anywhere from 8% upwards of 18+%, and usually it's for a short period of time. If it's private money, it might not be. You might be able to find kind of your cash cow that he or she has $1 million in the bank account in cash and just wants to get anywhere from 3 to 6% return. That could be perfect for you to use to buy a rental. That person is really tough to come by, very rare. So unless you have that, I would caution you on private or hard money, unless it's you're certain of where the price point you're buying it at, and you're certain it's going to be turned real quick. Ultimately, investing in real estate can be risky. It's always going to have a little bit of risk, but I think you can mitigate that risk by choosing the right loan product, financing product that fits your needs. Any 3 of these are good options. I'm sure there are more. Buying on contract would be another one that I should do a video on. There are multiple options, but in this video, what I do is I go over right here, I go over calculating the return on an investment property. And if you can't calculate the return on an investment property, you need to watch this video. Financing the property also comes into play when you're trying to find the return. So click on that video.